the channel. It's been a very, very, very long time. It's your boy Omar. I'm back here with Josh. What's up, Josh?
How's it going, Omar? I appreciate you bringing me on. Glad to talk Magic basketball in this new year. Let's get it.
Of course, we got this video. We're going to the Magic. The season's quickly approaching later this month. Later, very, very soon, I'll probably do my predictions for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, depending on how the next preseason go tomorrow, where I place this team. But we'll see. So let's get into it. This team in particular, we've seen one preseason game. We saw a lot of how do I want to put it? A lot of overreactions. You had an overreaction yourself. You started dismantling the young core of what this team has. So what did you think of the first preseason game?
We knew there was going to be some rust going into the first preseason game. If you actually go deep into the box score, we actually didn't play as bad as maybe the score turned out to be, or people have been talking about the game. In terms of 3-point shooting, we actually shot the 3-point ball pretty well. Most of our mistakes came on the defensive end and just being lazy at times. But for our first preseason game, I think we played okay, but it just shows that there's just so much to improve on.
Hey, I also have to as I was watching this game, of course there was frustrations, but I had to remember Memphis had already played a preseason game. The Magic missed about 4 or 5-ish practices because of the hurricane. It was gonna take this game with a grain of salt, see how they look against San Antonio. We're gonna look a lot better because we're going from one of the better teams in the NBA to one of the worst. So we'll see how that goes. Then Paulo looked all right. Cole Anthony shot the ball well. RJ Hampton looked solid. Mo Bamba looked active. Just a couple of good flashes here that we wanted to see. So moving forward, no Gary Harris. Prop and then Markel and J.I. are a toss-up for the start of the year. The one thing that I'm taking away from preseason game, the one that Markel's been the starter. He has to be. You agree? We can agree there that Markel falls.
We agree there. We agree there.
So I think where me and you differentiate is that 2-guard spot. Now, before I start, I'm gonna let you go first. Who should be starting at the other guard?
From what we've seen so far, this isn't on potential or anything. From what we've seen so far, because that's how Moses is gonna look at it. He's not gonna give it to somebody who may later in the year play extremely well. He's gonna give it to the person right now. Me personally, I think that's Cole. I think he should get the starting spot. We saw the jump he made from his first year to his second year. If we're being honest, we haven't really seen Magic players kind of make that jump in previous years, where they take such a big jump. I get that people will bring up that his efficiency did drop during the half point of the year, but the point is he still took that leap in his second year. He's our best shooter. He's technically our best scorer if you think about it. Just taking in last season, you can put Franz up there, you can put Wendell, but for majority of the season, it was Cole leading us. And I think his shooting is just so valuable to our starting unit. Markel cannot shoot the 3, at least taking in last season, because we haven't seen anything so far from him. Wendell's okay. Franz is really good. But besides that, there's just not much 3-point shooting. Cole he showed us the improvement he made from his first year to his second year. I have no doubt he'll just take the next step this year as well. I really want Cole. I think we all know as Magic fans that Cole Anthony really has the potential to be something special. And I really just want Mosley and the whole organization to just let him loose, because we know he's that type of guy. He is that guy. So I hope Cole gets the starting spot. But I know people will make great debates why Suggs should start, but I'm going to go with Cole.
Okay. So personally, my starting 2-guard spot is Jalen Suggs. Understand that with this dynamic, we saw how Suggs looked alongside Markel Fultz. You can say what you want. Cole Anthony played solid in the first preseason game. He shot the ball well. That's about it. If you're gonna take down Jalen Suggs for the playmaking issues, the offense looked horrendous in the half-court set. Cole didn't make particularly well. But again, it's just one preseason game. But understand that if you're not going to be the greatest offensive team, you might as well be an elite defensive team. And that's what Jalen Suggs brings already. He's an elite defensive guard. Markel's a solid defender. Franz is a good defender. Wendell's a good defender. And then, depending on how I'm assuming now with how they're handling JI, Paulo's going to end up being the other starting forward. He looks like he's a willing defender with size, with versatility. And that's why I think Jalen Suggs will eventually be the starting two guard alongside Markel. And again, if you want to score, there's nothing wrong with being the sixth man. That's the role Cole Anthony will eventually end up playing, because you are going to need someone to handle the second unit. We saw last year what that looked like with RJ Hampton playing the point guard. He's not a point guard, and we don't need to see another rendition of that struggling, in which is why when I saw Markel went down with the toe injury, I was ready to insert JI into the starting unit instead of Cole, solely because you'll still have the elite defensive unit of Suggs, Franz, Paulo, JI, and Dell, rather than plugging in Cole Anthony and then still having no guard in the second unit. I just, at that point, I still think Orlando is going to end up having that versatility and defensive dog mentality, and that can be the identity of this team. So if you're going to have that identity, you might as well have Suggs in that starting unit.
I completely agree. Like, in terms of like the reasons you made, like Cole could definitely come in. He could ride that second unit, lead them and everything. And that's a huge role as well, six man, because we know the role T. Ross played in that 18-19 season. Very crucial role. For me, it's just that he has the potential, Cole, to be the leading scoring guard on this team, if not one of the top scorers. And that includes Franz, Paulo, everybody being there, just because of how good his three-point shot looks. And I'm just afraid that he could end up being our best guard. And then he won't get that time to develop and end up because he'll be labeled as a six man, when instead he could end up being our best guard and who knows, an all-star and beyond. So I'm just scared that he's making all this improvements in his game and we're all just saying, oh, he should be a six man. That's where I'm coming from. But I can see why so many people want Suggs in that starting spot, because they did look great together, Markel and Suggs. It's just that I need to see, for me personally, more improvement from Suggs in his game. Obviously, one preseason game, we're not jumping to conclusions about him or anything. I want to see Cole have that space to, be the player we all think he can be.
You just can't hide a player off that bench when you know they have an elite skill. That's why I'm ready to bat for Jonathan Isaac. He's an elite defensive player. So just to get rid of him for nothing, as some people might say, it makes zero sense why you would do that. Jalen Suggs, an elite defensive guard. There's no reason to hide that off the bench. Markel, an elite playmaker that will allow this offense to run. There's a reason this team looked functional at the end of last year, despite them trying to win games.
Without Suggs, is our starting lineup a good defensive team? A good defensive lineup? If you added Cole in there, Cole, Paulo, Franz, Wendell.
They'll be a solid defensive team. I don't think they'll be elite solely because we've seen it. We've seen them pick on Cole, and then it's a free lane to the basket, and then that's when people get upset with Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, because they have to help, and it's an easy drop-off pass and an easy layup or dunk. And that's not on the big. That's because the guards are getting beat. Jalen Suggs doesn't have that problem. Again, that's nothing against him. I think Cole Anthony has a great potential, and he's probably going to be a very good scorer. And there's nothing wrong with Cole Anthony closing games. But I just think if you want to have that identity to start off as a great defensive team, I just think you start off with that unit. To set the tone defensively, and you let Cole Anthony run off that rhythm, which he's very much a rhythm player.
And sometimes, it's not about who starts, but who finishes as well. So you got that too.
Because it's not like Cole Anthony has been this consistent player in his first 2 years offensively. So if you want to ride the hot hand to end games, which Coach Mosley has shown he's done with RJ Hampton last year against Utah, so on and so forth, there's no problem with it. But you can't start someone because he has the potential to be a great thrower, like you said. You can't ride off potential. Well, because Cole Anthony has the potential to be this great scorer, you can't do it. Because he
Hey,
hasn't shown the consistency.
defense wins championships, but offense wins the game. And we ain't winning a championship anytime soon.
You're right, but at the same time, Franz looked very, very capable in Eurobasket. That Franz Wagner is the one player we know what we're getting. Look closer to what we're getting this season. So we've seen a very capable offensive player.
That's what I'm saying.
On and off the ball. So I'm not worried about this team's offense if Markel's in this lineup.
Yeah. But the thing with Markel too is his mid range is lethal. But if we don't have a starting guard who's really good at shooting the three, that's gonna hurt us. A starting guard. So that's not Franz or whoever.
But we saw that last year, it didn't matter. Markel was able to do whatever he wanted.
That's true. With Markel, Suggs is a whole other thing though. Again, just from what we've seen so far.
Again, but that's why Jalen Suggs was able to play so well alongside Markel, because it's not like Cole Anthony is this great playmaker either. Mm-hmm. I just think at this point, if you're gonna have this defensive identity alongside Markel, Jalen Suggs is the answer.
I mean, I wouldn't say Markel's the best defender either, but he's good. He's just good on defense.
No, I'm not saying Markel's the greatest defender, but if that's the identity you're going to have, you want to put the best defender next to him, which is Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs will end up guarding the best guard on any given night.
So what if Cole averages like 25, 30 a game? Then what are we gonna say? Oh, continue to come off the bench. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared. Yeah.
But that's a big if. You can't go from someone that shot under 40% and just to assume he's gonna make this jump.
Again, I don't think he's gonna average 25, 30. I just think that he has the ability to average 20 plus. While Suggs, if defense is the only thing warranting him starting in the starting lineup, I don't know.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm also gonna ask you this. So what are the odds that Cole Anthony's average to start the year were solely because he was clearly the number one option and someone had to score the ball?
Sorry, so what are the odds that he starts the year?
Last season, what is it possible that the reason he was able to average close to 20 games for that stretch, not that he wasn't shooting the ball well, but because the Magic were depleted through injuries, so someone had to score.
Someone had to score, but I would also say that's like a lot of tanking teams though when they don't have much. Like Trae Young, for example. I'm not trying to compare Trae Young and Cole Anthony, but in terms of when you don't have anybody and you bring in someone young with great potential and all that, and they're able to get their shots up because they really have nobody else, they're gonna take that jump, right? So many Magic players in previous years have had that ability. Aaron Gordon, there was nobody for so many years. Alfred Payton, there was nobody for so many years. You know the point I'm trying to get at. So Cole Anthony did take that next step. Now, granted, Markel was hurt. We don't know if he would have taken that jump if Markel was still there. But the fact is, he did make that jump. And I want to see Cole continue to develop. Not that Jalen can't. Everything I'm saying about Cole developing doesn't mean Jalen can't develop it as well. But I just feel like as of right now, Cole has just shown more to me. And I value three-point shooting a lot, especially because in recent years, as you know, we have not been a good three-point shooting team. So the fact that we got a three-point shooter like Cole, again, not amazing, but he's taking strides to be better. I just can't see Suggs starting over Cole, at least as of yet.
I just also think Cole Anthony's more of a scorer more than so just a three-point shooter.
That's true.
So if you have that scorer mentality, there's nothing wrong with being a six-man, especially when you're going to have the second unit full of shooters. That second unit is going to be full. You're going to have Gary Harris off that bench. You're going to have Terrence Ross. You're going to have Mo Bamba. So with that scoring ability that Cole Anthony has, I also think fits better with the second unit that's going to be full of shooters and the ability to spread the floor. Well, the first unit is going to be more full of playmakers like Franz, like Markel, like Wendell. Wendell Carter has been an underrated passer through the high post. So that's the dynamic I see. So I just think Cole Anthony will end up fitting with the second unit, which will also allow the first unit to have that ability, especially if you want to give Paulo Banchero the ball to be that scorer. Mm-hmm. Cole Anthony, again, is a rhythm player, so if you're going to have the ball in Paulo's hands more often just because he's this team's future, then at that point you might also have Markel to be able to help play make and give Paulo better positions to score.
What if Cole ends up being the best guard on this team? Again, right now Markel is better. I know that. What if Cole ends up being the best guard on this team? Then what? What happens?
And at that point, you move into that starting unit. But again, you have two other guards that have already shown you elite skills.
I mean, Cole has shown elite skill at shooting, 3-point shooting at least.
When?
Last season. Come on now. He showed that long distance range in preseason. We saw those games. And even during the year.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do preseason.
Nah, you know the point.
This is what we're gonna do, Job. We're doing preseason.
And he just showed the ability to hit longer shots. Maybe not the Steph Curry shots or the shots he was hitting in preseason because those were long shots. But he was getting a little bit like further from the 3-point range and starting to develop that sense of kind of like Trae Young, taking a little bit further back, not too back like Curry, but a little bit back, further than usual. And he was starting to hit them at a good range.
Again, yes, all these players have shown flashes of ability, but again, Suggs showed throughout the year, elite defender. Markel has shown, since he's been here, an elite playmaker. And so Cole has shown the consistency of being that shooter or being that scorer efficiently that I can't put him into that starting unit above the other two guards when they've already shown you an elite skill.
For you, what does Cole have to do to get a starting spot? Or to be considered the best guard on the team? What does Cole have to do?
If you're going to continue to be that scorer at that clip, I need you to be efficient.
And to play make better. Would you say that?
Yeah.
If he's going to be the lead guard, like the best guard on the team.
You have to at least you have to be able to run an offense. And you have to be efficient.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And again, Suggs, the reason I'm willing to give Suggs more leeway is because he has the elite defender. But don't get me wrong, he has to get better at protecting the ball and show this improvement of being the shooter. But again,
yes, the turnovers. How could I forget? I almost forgot.
But again, it's not like Cole didn't turn the ball over either.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But I've also just hit that point where Suggs already showed me one elite skill. And once Cole proves to be this improved player and an efficient scorer, then I have no problem improving into the starting unit.
Mm-hmm.
It was the main reason I wasn't so willing to give up Jonathan Isaac's starting spot to Paulo to start the year because I know that elite skill is there already. But with the injury, it is what it is, and I think J.I. will eventually be that. He will be the 6th, 7th man with Cole Anthony off that bench. So there's nothing wrong with it. But you have those elite skills. You want to put those elite skills on the court as much as you can. Mm-hmm. But with these injuries, we will see. We'll see if Markel's ready to go by game 1. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the starting 5 going into this opener against Detroit will end up being Cole, Jalen, Franz, Paulo, and Wendell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I think at this team's best, I think you're gonna have Jalen and Markel in the backcourt, Franz and Wendell, and then a toss-up between Jonathan Isaac and Paulo. I think Paulo will, by very, very quickly, will overtake J.I. as a clear forward spot because of that playmaking ability, ball handling ability, and just because he looks very comfortable as a scorer. Something Jonathan Isaac never proved, never showed. But if Paulo struggles defensively, we'll see how long that lasts.
We know one thing with
Mosley. He'll be fine, though. One thing with Mosley,
everyone's gonna have to earn this spot. That's the thing we know about Jamal Mosley. He's not just gonna get handed out because we think Paulo's, he's that guy and he's our first overall pick. He's automatically gonna get that starting spot. But you never know. And with Jonathan Isaac, if that dude ain't healthy by opening night, I don't know what to say, bro. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
And I don't even think it's Jonathan Isaac's fault. It's the front office. It's the front office that's not letting him play.
Regardless of where he is in his return status, I know Jonathan Isaac's gonna have a huge impact on the team, especially defensively. And I can't wait to see him out there. Again, I kind of like I want to see Paolo and Franz play more together. But hey, if Jonathan Isaac's really good and Paolo or Franz just isn't doing their what we hope they would do to start the season, Mosley could put in JI and they may lose their spots for him.
Yeah, I think the way they're dealing with Jonathan Isaac, I think he'll definitely be coming off the bench, which I don't have no problem with. I think Paulo's a very special player. He has that ball handling skill, playmaking skill, scoring ability. He's a willing defender, and he'll get there eventually once he gets better with technique. So he will get there. I like Paulo a lot. So yeah, I think this. So as we're talking about the impact on this team, to wrap this up, early season prediction. Where's this team finishing?
You got to think if we're fully healthy for at least majority of the season, we're fighting for that playing spot. I don't know how people are gonna bring up. I know their names, those two prospects. I think Scoot Henderson and Victor something, the big center.
Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson.
But honestly, and I saw a post about this, and I know some people may agree, but if we really need to be tanking again to get someone like that, this team ain't doing something right. It's different if we're doing great and they somehow make a trade to get into the top and get a top pick. That's one thing. But if you are tanking again, we're doing something wrong as an organization. So I really do believe we'll be fighting for a playing spot. If anything, if we could get that 10th or 9th spot, I think that'll be great. I think that's where we'll ideally end up. Again, if we're healthy for majority of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I believe this team can be in the play-in tournament and fight for a playoff spot. I think they're better than Charlotte with losing Bridges to his situation. New York, Detroit, Indiana. So I think they will be in the mix for that play-in spot. But yeah, we will see. Let's see how Chuma, who struggled in this preseason. Okay, struggled. See if RJ Hampton continues solid play. We'll see what the rest of this team looks like moving forward. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.